Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're in the kitchen again, and today we are going to be making a cookie. We are going to make a sweet molasses round. Now this is an icebox cookie, meaning you put it into a log and then you put it in your freezer. And after that, you wait for it to freeze and then you slice it. So these are really easy to make, and it's really simple to make this log, put it in your freezer, and only make 2 or 3 cookies at a time if that's all you want. So let's get started. First thing you need is half a cup of butter. You can use margarine if you like. There's so many ingredients in this cookie, you probably won't notice the difference. I am using butter. So we're going to take our electric mixer, and we're just going to beat that butter for a second. I will turn the volume down because this guy's loud. Okay. To that, we are going to add about half a cup of molasses. You could go a little bit less if you don't love molasses, but about half a cup. And yes, I'm just pouring it. I'm not measuring it because I hate getting molasses in my measuring cups. So you just kind of go to what looks like half a cup. You could go down to a quarter cup if you wanted. And just take your time with molasses or you do make a mess. Okay, because it's so sticky, you don't want to get the molasses all over the container. There we go. And we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of just plain white sugar. Now we're going to beat that up together. Again, I'll turn the volume down. Okay, now to that, let's add 1 egg, just 1. And again, my chickens suck right now because it's winter. Well, it's end of October, but that's pretty much winter here in Canada. So even though you might be seeing some videos taken in the summer, it's not nice out today. Okay, let us add some dry ingredients. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Yes, you need the salt. It helps equalize the flavors. We're going to add about half a teaspoon of cinnamon, except that one's empty. My cinnamon's over here. About half a teaspoon. No, I'm not measuring them because you can go more than that if you like, but you do want to make sure you have enough herbs. About half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Forgive Tequila whining in the background. And then we're going to add some cloves, but we're only going to add about 1/4 teaspoon or less because cloves are really strong and you don't want to overpower your cookie. Ginger, same, about 1/4 teaspoon. Again, ginger's a strong spice. You don't want to overpower your cookies. Then we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Not baking powder. This is important. Baking soda. Let's get that word up. Okay, one final ingredient is 2 cups of flour. So what I'm going to do is add the 2 cups of flour to my yucky, sticky ingredients, and I'm going to do it kind of slowly, and then I'm going to stop using this and use my hands. So I'm going to just take my ring off, because you're putting your hands in sticky stuff. You don't want jewelry on. And so I'm just going to add my 2 cups of flour a little bit gradually. There, I was just cleaning off my beaters. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to use my hands to get the rest of this mixed in. Okay, let's just get rid of some of these bowls. I don't need so many bowls, guys. Yes, it's my fault. There's so many bowls, but that's not the problem. Other people are the problem right now. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to mix this with our hands for the rest of it because I like to feel the cookie dough. Now, you can do this in a bigger stand mixer because this gets kind of tough, so a hand mixer won't mix it the whole way. But I do like to feel the dough between my fingers just because I can tell then if I need to put a little bit of water on my hands or if I need to get a little bit of flour or whatnot. So it'll totally depend on how the dough feels because you got to remember humidity really does affect how much moisture or how much flour you need in your dough. So I think this will be fine. We hope, because I don't want to have to put water on my hands today, even though I can. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Okay. That's not bad, actually. Yeah, today this is good. So do remember that if you are very humid in your house that day, you might need a little less liquid. If you're really dry, the air kind of steals your liquid from your dough. So you might need to add a little bit of water on your hands while you're mixing. That's pretty good. So I'm just going to pause the video while I go clean off my hands and go get my plastic wrap. Then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. So let me just get this off my hands. Then I'm going to pause the video and we'll be right back. All right, so I have my plastic wrap sitting beside me. We're just going to move this bowl for a second. I'm just going to pull my plastic wrap out of this dispenser. Don't skimp on the piece. You want a decently sized piece. And then we're going to take our dough. We're going to actually put our dough in the middle of that plastic wrap. Okay. I know it looks weird, but this is the easiest way to do it, is to shape it into a log on the plastic wrap. Because it's kind of annoying. So what you want to do now is make a log. So decide how big you want your cookies. So if you want your cookies that big, that's how big your log should be. So how big your cookies are will determine how many cookies you get. Okay? Because if you do really big cookies, you're obviously going to have a shorter log. If you do kind of skinny cookies, you're going to have a fatter log. So it's entirely up to you. This is where you decide how big a log you're going to make. So I tend to do anywhere from 12 to 18 inches, depending on how many cookies I want. So today, I guess this is probably about a little more than 12 inches. Well, let's see. That's my 17-inch mark. And it's, well, no, it's about 15 inches, really. And I'm kind of going a little bit bigger. So I'm probably going to end up around 16 inches here. And then you kind of flatten off your ends. Okay. Now I'm going to just step away from the camera again, and I'll cut out me washing my hands, but I just want to clean my hands one more time. All right, now I'm going to break my plastic wrap away from its holder, that aside. And now we're going to wrap this up. So we're going to pull it tight because you don't want a lot of play. Okay, pull that tight. Pull the other side tight because you don't want a lot of movement in that dough. And then you can like twist the ends or you can fold the ends. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. So I tend to twist the ends. You don't have to do that. You can just fold the end up. That's fine. It doesn't matter. As long as you do something. So if I don't want to twist the ends, I usually twist the ends on video, but if you don't want to, literally just fold it up. And if you've got a clingy plastic wrap, it won't matter that much because it sticks to itself anyway. Okay? So kind of give that a little bit of a roll so that it's kind of rounder because that bottom edge is going to be a little bit blocky just because you did it on a flat surface, so it's not round. So just kind of smooth out your not round edges. And then we're going to pop this in the freezer. So I'm popping it in the deep freeze, my chest freezer, which is a colder freezer than your freezers that are in your fridge, so it'll freeze faster. So if you're using a chest freezer, a deep freeze, you're going to want to freeze it for at least 4 hours. If you're using the freezer that is in your fridge, you probably want to leave it for at least 8. Either way, you want to wait until this log is solid, okay? Like really solid. You want it to be nice and hard so that you can cut it and it doesn't bend. All right, so we're just going to stick this away, and we will come back after a few hours when this has been frozen solid. All right, so our log is frozen solid, nice and solid. So all we're going to do is unwrap it. There we go. And then we're going to take a sharp knife and we're going to cut slices. How thick? That's up to you. I am going to do them 1/2 inch, but if you want a crispy cookie, you want to do them a little thinner. If you want a chewy cookie, you want to do them thicker. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of roughly equal thickness cookies. And then what you're going to do, you're going to take your cookie pan with a liner or whatever you use. You could spray your cookie sheet, doesn't matter. And we're just going to put some cookies on there. That's all. We're just going to stick our cookies on there. Then we're going to preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And we are going to bake these for about 10 minutes. You can go to 12 if you want them a little bit crisper, that's fine. Just moving mine. So I'm going to get about 15 on my sheet. Remember, you do not have to do all of these cookies at the same time. You can cut, I'm going to cut just 15 cookies, put them on my cookie pan, and I'm going to rewrap the rest of these, and I'm going to make them tomorrow. Just so everyone has a chance at eating these cookies because they are very yummy. So I'm just going to put this log back in the freezer. Remember, you don't have to bake the whole thing. So we're going to stick these in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes. We'll come back as soon as they're done. All right, so these came out of the oven about 30 seconds ago, which is about when you want to start removing them from the pan, because you don't want them to overcook. You'll notice they look a lot like gingerbread, and when you're making them, you'll probably notice that they smell a lot like gingerbread. They do. They are not gingerbread. They're a sweet molasses round. Even though they have a lot of the same ingredients, they're not quite a gingerbread. So take them off the pan, set them on a wire rack to cool, and we're going to let them cool completely before we store them in an airtight container. And in an airtight container, they'll probably stay good for 5 days or so before you have to worry that maybe they're not fantastic anymore. Just getting rid of my pan. But they are fantastic for those first 5 days. Just remember, let them cool completely and then put them in an airtight container. So you'll see, is this one. They are quite delicious, quite perfect. I absolutely adore these cookies, and I hope you do too. So I hope you enjoyed making sweet molasses rounds with us today on the farm. Tune in again for more of our baking recipes, and if you want to keep updated on everything going on, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow.